Today we're going to hear from 4 amazing solutions, 4 of our 10 solution makers represented by this year's Solution Summit, and I'm really pleased to introduce solution number 1. Ghida Anani. She works for ABAAD, Jina Al-Dar, and she works out of Lebanon. Ghida is the founder and director of ABAAD, the Resource Center for Gender Equality. She's a passionate activist for women and vulnerable populations in Lebanon, and the World Bank has named her one of the 10 most inspiring women entrepreneurs in her region. So Ghida, we really look forward to hearing from you.
Marhaba. If it weren't for your visit to my village, I would have been married next week. This is Sarah, and I'm 14 years old. Sarah is one out of more than 20,000 women and girls who are living on the Lebanese territory in the most marginalized areas and who have benefited from the services of the Jina Al-Dar mobile bus. Jina Al-Dar is an innovation, a solution that we created to reach the unreachable women and girls who are refugees and in displacement that are residing on the Lebanese territory, fleeing war, living and suffering from the worst form of exploitation, rape, trafficking, sexual commercial exploitation, early and child marriage, and spousal violence. So these women, we decided to go to them in this mobile bus that is called Jina Al-Dar, which stands as well, We've Come Home, because they live in a very they have restricted mobility due to the security situation and the political situation and legal documentation that they have as refugees. So we decided simply to go to them with a multidisciplinary team and support them in their community. So Jina Al-Dar not only provide holistic care, life-saving services to these women, like clinical management of rape, on-spot psychosocial support, first aid, mental health care, and legal services, but also it provides preventive interventions, awareness sessions on legal, sexual reproductive health and rights, and health care in their own community through different techniques. Today, the cost of gender-based violence is almost $2.5 million in Lebanon for holistic care. So we came up with a solution that actually costs $2.5 per person. The bus, it has a kind of inclusive systemic approach because it doesn't target only women and girls, but also men and boys, people with special needs, local authorities, stakeholders, faith-based groups, and all members of the community. To upscale and enhance and have more sustainable impact, we also used ICT technology as a medium to link up survivors and cases with service providers across the country and restore more and more a sense of trust and confidence and safety to speak up and disclose and come forward to talk about gender-based violence. It's important to mention that the bus doesn't only provide this holistic care approach, but also it contributes indirectly as well to community social cohesion and stability and peace-building messaging. So the women's sense of agency and empowerment is a key priority for us. Hence, we were ready to do anything to really ensure that they're actively and effectively participating in their communities and use any and all medium possible. Today, we aspire to go cross-border and to replicate the model as a kind of living example of communal solidarity. At the same time, this is something that we will really aspire and require funding to ensure that we're serving more population, networking to mobilize all support around the model, and also technology that can help us make the voice of these women and girls even louder and more heard, and use the power of data in all advocacy efforts in the country. I was dead, hopeless, had forgotten the sound of a good laugh. You brought me back to life. This was another woman, Layla, 47 years old, who benefited from the services, and she is one of too many women that are still waiting for the support. So really, we want you today to connect with us and join the cause and ensure more accountability toward women and girls that are struggling with gender-based violence. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Ghida is an extraordinary leader, has done so much for her country and the topic of women's empowerment, gender equality, especially even getting a law changed. If you want to say something briefly about that before we bring our accelerators up. I know it's really important what you've done.
Yeah, because for us it was a kind of taking out one of the most shameful legislation in the Lebanese code, which is allowing the rapist to escape punishment in case they marry their victim. So we led a campaign called Undress 522, which is the article that led actually to abolishing this article from the Lebanese law in less than a year. And neighboring countries also followed the struggle, especially Tunisia. And Palestine currently is working on it. So it was one breakthrough for us to make, like, really restore the belief that change can happen. It's simply about strategizing and the persistence and the passion.
Amazing,
so thank
everyone.
You.
I'm pleased to welcome a group of our acceleration partners on stage. Please join us. And we're going to just have a quick dialogue with Ghida to elaborate on a few aspects of her presentation. But I also wanted to say that these dialogues are a snapshot of much longer discussions we had with acceleration partners and each of our innovators over the weekend. That's one of the things we do when we bring them here to New York, is give them the opportunity to benefit from some of the organizations who are here, who have networks and expertise that will hopefully help them grow their work. So I think each of you is prepared to comment on a specific aspect, and we're going to pass the mic. Hend, would you like to go first? Since you're and introduce, say your name and the organization you represent, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Hend Al-Hinawi. I'm the CEO of Humanitarian Tracker. We connect and empower citizens using innovation and technology.
Yeah.
Ghida, what I love about ABAAD is the sense of trust and community that being on a bus for 3 days builds.
Yeah.
So imagine if all of us were on a bus for 3 days traveling through. Imagine that trust and that safe space that you're creating for women to really express and have solidarity. And you kind of run it like a agile, lean startup. You're not in one place,
yes.
And so it's easier for you to move to other villages and neighboring towns to take your program forward. Now, I'd like to offer you our ICT tools that we have at Humanitarian Tracker to connect you with other organizations. Is there something specific that you are looking for?
Well, basically, it's important to flag this point because for us, it was one of the challenge that it was also challenging ourselves, like how you build community, sense of community and trust while you're moving, and the people you're serving are actually in this transformative, constant reality. So for us, the technology and the kind of ICT can help sustain the kind of messaging and the work and the service we're doing, at the same time document the violations in sense of make it more visible. We go to the people, but we want to make what they are struggling with more visible and heard backward. So ICT per se can help ensure that the memory is not lost, accountability is there, documentation is there, and create a kind of movement of women advocates for their own issue, and this is all what we want, to be very honest. So thank you so much for allowing this possibility to even upscale it and to happen. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm Ghida Anani. I represent the H&M Foundation. And I think it's such a good way to reach the marginalized women by this bus. But also, I know that you also link them to other services, but how do you kind of follow up on the beneficiaries?
So the Jina Al-Dar is one pillar, one service out of many services that we provide as a structure. So this is the structure that actually goes around and and let the people know about the services, the specialized services. And then they are linked to other structures that ABAAD manage across the country. We have 13 women and girls safe spaces that provide holistic care, like it's a kind of one-stop shop center model that provide GBV holistic services. So we ensure to link them to the closest center that ABAAD manage, or other partners like the Ministry of Social Affairs centers, the Ministry of Public Health centers. So we make them know that in 15 minutes walking distance, this is one key criteria for us, you can get a sustainable follow-up if you want more than one shot support. And also we try to do this with non-judgmental approach, like the interactive art technique is key. So we made them feel comfortable that, yes, you opened up, but at the same time, you can, in a very interactive way, but you can go for more one-on-one individual support through these centers, or even the shelters that we manage. We have 3 emergency shelters. She is in danger. She can actually go there with her kids and reflect about her life in a very safe, confidential space. So we try as much as possible, depend on the high risk of the situation, to link up to these structures. Thank you.
Thank you, Solutions Exchange, for this lovely opportunity to interact with such entrepreneurs. My name is Kailash, and I've got a very difficult task ahead of me. I manage an investment fund in an activist organization called Oxfam. But Ghida, your innovation is amazing, and it's my privilege to help you scale it up from Lebanon to 70-odd countries that we work in. But we focus on policy and advocacy. So I would be really keen to understand how your initiatives can help the policy and advocacy space.
So thank you so much for this question. Actually, because we define ourselves as advocates for women's rights, as feminists, advocacy for us is the top priority. And honestly, the philosophy of coming up and creating this innovative solution was the accountability to the people we serve. So for us, advocating for fair policies and legislations is the pulse, it's the key, and we mobilize everything around it. So the gathered data that we get from the community, linking it up to our advocacy unit, it can help us to really know what these women want and what will make a difference in their own life. So this is mobilized around the policy work, like the campaign that I mentioned. We knew from the community that incest rape is happening, that sexual violence is happening, that marriage is presented as a solution. And this is from where we identify our advocacy priorities. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ghida. And just for everyone watching online on UN Web TV or other sources, join the conversation, send your questions or ideas at SDG Solutions on Twitter. And thank you all so much for everything that you've offered in terms of offerings and advice.
And thank you for this space. Thank you. Thank you so much.